What's going on, everybody? I hope you all had a good trading day. April 4th, 2023. Markets were down today slightly, just over 50%, down 0.55%. Final print 408.67. And here we start off on the daily chart. But before we get into it, just a friendly reminder that these videos are for educational and entertainment purposes only. And if you're liking and enjoying the content that I am providing, feel free to give that like button a big wet kiss. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you will be alerted anytime we post a new recap or any other content. All right, so that being said, here we are at the daily chart. We're looking at the Wyckoff cycle that we have been playing over for the last few months. We've been over this many times in previous videos, but we had that accumulation came up, retest, and then got distribution, down, retest, down. Okay, so here we are, broke over this downtrend line, 3 gap up days. Okay, very interesting. Now we're trading, for me, back at a premium. Back into this distribution zone. We're in this potential bull flag. However, I don't know if I trust it, considering where we are. As I was saying, we could have a little bit more upside. Momo definitely's got a little bit more room, although, you know, it can get to those extreme over bought levels, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just creeps a little bit over, kind of like we are now, and then comes down. Here it didn't quite get there, but it's something to watch. Here it didn't quite get there, and then we saw more of a sell here. It got there a little bit. So will we see a repeat of the beginning of November? Very possible. We come back in and then we make that move higher. I do believe that markets need to cool off a little bit. We've got those gaps, so that is definitely something we want to watch out for. But for me, the risk to reward is not to the upside. And as you know, I mentioned I started a swing on some puts for next Friday. We did exit some of that position today for around 30% or so when we got into the lows. But we're still holding some. There is a chance I could get stopped out, but that's fine. We did take some of those gains, so either way, it's a free ride at this point for us. If we break tomorrow's lows, if we break yesterday's lows around that 407 area, I'd probably be looking for around 405.50 or 405. Around that big pivot zone, the 405, I wouldn't be surprised to see a fake break that might bring us down to the bottom of this distribution and bring us down to maybe that 404.85, 80 area, as you can see right here. There is a chance we break below, maybe kiss the 9, but that's kind of my downside targets for right now for the cool off. I don't know if we're going to fill these gaps just yet. We might not for a while. So, but we definitely want to keep an eye on them. For sure. So for me, that's kind of a little bit of the short side areas I am looking at over the next week or so, maybe a week and a half. So let's look at another chart. Let's throw up. Okay, I know something else I wanted to mention here. All right. So we were talking in the past video where I thought the first area that price might deliver into was the high of this candle. Go back and watch the videos. Was the high back of this candle. That's exactly where we came into and then did a little bounce today. So no surprise there as far as where we were heading and where we could potentially bounce. Worked out perfectly for us. So that was nice for a little end of the day squeezer. We didn't go up too much, but it's definitely worth noting. Let's take a look at the fibs here really quickly. All right, I was talking yesterday about coming into this big uptrend channel that we've been watching. Now we're starting to see some of that rejection. Talking about that possible fake break over that 7869 retracement. Looks like that is taking shape. And I'll still be watching, for really and ideally if we come back down. I don't know if we'll get this far, but if we start to come back into this trend line, definitely be interested in some longs at that area. But I still believe that price needs to cool down a bit before we could potentially have any moves higher. Now, that being said, okay, I'm talking about price cooling off, retracements, which is normal, healthy price action. We need to see that, especially after this run that we've seen. But that doesn't mean that the bull run is over. That doesn't mean that we're, you get a lot of doom and gloomers on Twitter, talking about all these macro factors. And yes, there's some validity to that, of course. But I think Q3 earnings season will be interesting. But I just trade the chart. So, for me, all that macro stuff's in my head. Sure, but I just go with what price action is telling me. And as traders, that's all we can do, and that's all we're supposed to do. Investing and things like that. The fundamentals, they are logical, but the market is not logical. The market is emotional. And if you think about that as far as a right brain, left brain paradigm, you got the one side and the other side. I'm forgetting now offhand which one. I think it's the left brain that's the more creative and emotional. And it's the right brain that's more logical. I might have it mixed up. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. But, it's that kind of thing. So markets are not driven on logic. And so everybody's shorting into this, just because of macro things. It's just like, it's just read the chart. Just go with the chart. But as I said, I think we are going to pull back a little bit. And you're going to see the bears, they've already been celebrating on this little down day today, and I'm sure if we come down a little bit more, they'll be celebrating. But, it's all for naught. And I think ultimately we'll still be heading a bit higher after a little bit of a cool down. But I could be wrong. If we break this trend line, I'll be singing a bit of a different story for a deeper retracement, and that's fine. Okay, so what are we looking at for tomorrow? Let's clear this off. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's just pop at this daily. Why not? There was something else I wanted to go over. Actually. Very tricky spot still here on the daily. Like we're talking about all this overhead, so you can see it there. But pretty nice area of buyers now starting to form right here. Down to this 406. Down to 403. So definitely going to watch this zone. I'm going to mark it off here as well. Just as something to keep an eye on as a bigger level of when we start to, if we start to trade, if we do in fact break that 405 area, and we start to trade, well, this is pretty much that whole zone, 406 to 403. But if we do start to break down, and start to get into this lower half, we'll start to be looking at some potential longs as well in this area. And this 403 area, depending on when we hit it, would line up, I think, pretty nicely with this downtrend here around that 618 retracement. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But like I said, danger area up here for sure. I'm not really interested in any major moves to the upside right now. Although we could see it, of course. But all right, so let's just go back. I'm sorry, I'm flip-flopping here on some charts, but I just wanted to go into three other things really quickly, actually. And let me turn off these fibs really quick. Okay. We were looking at the 12-hour yesterday, talking about that we were coming into value area high. You could see it did reject, but we are coming right into the 9 here, pretty close. So that's interesting. So we want to watch out for that. Still very hot here in the Momo. So, but back inside of value. But the other thing I wanted to point out here on the 4-hour, this hasn't worked. The auction here hasn't worked itself out. So we're still way outside of value. Market's going to need to come back and work this out. You know, base value area highs 400 here, which to me is, I wish it wasn't. It's kind of lower than I'd rather go, but I'm totally fine. I mean, my puts for next Friday are the 400s, so if we do come here, I'd be happy as a clam. But I would rather not see that much of a pullback, but holding the 400 and coming back would be interesting. This volume profile might shape up as we come down. Something I do want to mention now that I am looking at this is this big gap here. Okay, so we've got a big VP gap in here, and it this kind of lines up with that. I got to do this on another chart, but kind of lines up with. Let me just do it. Where can I do it? I can do it here, I guess. I want to watch out for this gap. I would not be surprised. And this is around that same area of for this gap to get filled on the volume profile. So let's watch out for that as well. Price to be sucked into this area here. And looking at the hourly, I believe we are still above. Okay, hourly did kind of work itself out a bit. I know we were above value last time. Let me just see. Okay, on the 5-day, it's a little bit different. On the 5-day hourly, okay, we are back in a value, kind of under VOPC as we speak. A little bit of a crossover going on here, but the 10-day. Of course, you know, the profile is going to change a bit. 10-day, we are still way outside of value, but that only brings us down. If we come back here, comes back to 403.60s area, you know, for me, it'd just be tough. You know, I want to see price action trading inside of value to really be more stable, but we'll see. This 403 could be a pickup. You know, we're going to have to see how this shapes up over the next couple of days as well, and into next week. All right, so let's get back into what we're thinking for tomorrow, maybe the day after. Some things I am watching really quickly. We are looking at, here we go. It's taking a second to load. Okay. All right. So what are we looking at? Kind of looks like a bit of bear flag here on the 4-hour. I don't see anything as far as the liquidity here, but we definitely have some stuff that we want to look at on the hourly. This whole zone here, so 410 to 411. Okay, want to watch out for that. And now this area we are going to want to watch out for, where we're seeing price move out of right now. It's going to be 409. 409.20. So I want to watch out for that as well. And let's see what else we can cook up as some areas of interest. It's actually got a little bit too high here. Bring that down. There we go. This actually could be a little bit lower. There we go. All right, so going to be watching these zones. Price, actually, I'll get into that in a second, but Let's see if we can't see anything else that looks interesting. Okay, on the 30-minute, it's very small, but we're actually coming into a little bit of area that's interesting where I might consider a long. It's not, the zone is not as big as I would normally like, but sometimes I like these smaller ones because it's a really nice defined risk. So we'll be watching this 408.80, 408.90 we'll call it. So we'll see if this holds up here as well. And I am going to mark off right here as well. And that's basically 410, more or less. Cool. And lastly, I will be watching this area. Now, do I think price will get delivered all the way up here? Maybe. I would say low odds. But it's very possible that we're going to want to try to engage these sellers. My personal thought for tomorrow would be that we would come up, retest this area. So what I'm thinking is in the morning, if we consolidate here, we run up in a little morning rally, come up, just make a lower high, lower high, and then roll over and then continue back down. But the big area for me that's really going to need to be broken is going to be that 407 area, okay? The 407 over, yesterday, from tomorrow, over yesterday's lows, but I guess today's lows, so April 4th. If we get below that, we take out this bottom wick here, okay, then I'm going to start to look for this 406.50. If that breaks, I'm then targeting again that other zone I was talking about, that 405.50 to 405, where I might consider some longs as well. But I'm looking for the break of this, and then we'll be targeting that area. You could say 406.50, but I also have an important area at 406.83, so we could make that a little zone and just say something like this, if you would be so inclined, and just have this area here, and where I might consider taking a bounce play. If we're down in the 405 to the 450, I'd be looking probably to take a buy and come up and try to retrace into this zone. And then if we can get over, then probably targeting these lows, and then from there. So that's kind of what I'll be thinking. We'll see about that. Come up, lower high, then roll back over, come down. But I do still anticipate that whippy, pricey price action. I've been talking about this since the Sunday video, and we've seen that kind of play out. Look, up, down, up, down, consolidate, up, back up, all the way down, back up. Okay, so it's definitely trickier price action this week. So I hope you guys are navigating it smartly and playing defense. But you can kind of see so far how price is being delivered just in this zone overall, back and forth. So let's just watch that as we're kind of going but breaking, like I said, breaking these lows and breaking this consolidation that we have been in, then will lead us lower. Otherwise, I'm looking for retracements, and then we'll see about engaging up here at some point, but I don't think it'll be for a little bit. All right, well, that's pretty much all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know where you think your markets are going. Love to hear the feedback. And yeah, take care. I wish you the best on your trading, and have a good rest of your evening.